Like I said, in this episode, we're going to start to look at the organs and how they are connected to our emotions and our body and what our body is trying to speak to us. Hey, welcome back to the Let Go Movement podcast. My name is Akeisha, and around here we are sharing what it's like to live well, let go, and keep showing up for the life that you are creating and want. Our journeys are unique, they're layered, they're nuanced, and they're never a one size fits all. I'm here sharing what's helping myself, what's helping my clients, and what's possible when we stop holding on to what we were never meant to carry. Let's get into the episode. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast and welcome to a slightly different format. If you are watching me on YouTube, my face is back. Yes, I'm not scared anymore to show my face. I realized, you know what? Let's experiment here. I tried doing it without my face. It was great and easy. But I think if you're on YouTube, people do really expect to see your face, and I'm going to honor that. This isn't a meditation. It's not something that your eyes are closed. And you know what? If you're a YouTube person and you're listening to this, feel free to put me on and then go do the dishes or, put me in your ears and do your laundry, whatever it is. You don't need to see me, but I do think that YouTube is such a platform that is face orientated. So I'm going to honor that. I'm going to experiment with that. But if you're listening to me on podcast, great, awesome. It doesn't change anything. I love this. So today we're going to talk about organs and how they relate to emotions. And we're going to go through in the next three episodes, three different emotions over the next 3 weeks. And I'm going to split it up because specifically, I want you to take away from this episode some tangibles. I want you to be able to reflect in your life throughout the week where things might be being held in for you in those organs, maybe what you need to release to help your system out. If you know me, you know I'm a big component of the energetic world shapes your physical world. Okay. People will often say that's not true, but science keeps on fucking proving it every single day. So go do your research and then come back to me, right? Our energy, what we are experiencing shapes our reality. Our point of view shapes our reality, right? You'll hear me say that a lot. Your organs are so beautifully, from the Chinese medicine perspective, so beautifully connected to us, and they emit certain frequencies that we've correlated to certain emotions. And when we have experiences that bring up those frequencies, that our body kind of uh, generates this energy, if we don't process that, our body will store it. And oftentimes gets stored in the organ that the organ generates. So this will make sense as I go through each organ and kind of give you a clear, very simple perspective of what is going on and how you can release it and support your body, because your body needs to be supported from multiple angles. We need the energetic and emotional kind of perspective, limiting belief, cleansing, clearing, letting go, let that shit go. And we also need to help our body out physically speaking. What are we putting in our bodies? What are we putting on our bodies? How are we moving our bodies? What is our environment that we're in, right? If we're only doing one and not addressing the other, then the circle isn't complete. Then our body is still going to be blocked in some way. So I'm a big component at looking at both perspectives, and both perspectives from slightly different points of addressing something, because each of us is different and we respond to different things differently. So that's a bit of my tangent. I also want to just say, shout out to San Miguel. I've been in San Miguel for the past few months, and it's a beautiful place in the world. And if you haven't traveled here into central Mexico, I highly suggest you put it on a place to come and visit, because it is beautiful. The food is great. The scenery is amazing, and the people are so friendly and welcoming. And if you're looking to explore more of Mexico outside of resort world on the coast, come into Central America or Central Mexico and check out San Miguel de Allende. So that was just a gracious plug for the community and for the city of San Miguel. Anyways, let's get into this episode. So, wait, hold on. Before I get into it, stay tuned to the very end, because I am going to share with you something that you can download right away to further help you release. And that's called the back pocket reset. So stay tuned, because I'm talking about how you can access that. Now let's get into the episode. I'm gonna go look at my notes. If you're on YouTube, I'm now gonna like refer to my notes because I need to stay on track and not rant away here. So, like I said, in this episode, we're gonna start to look at the organs and how they are connected to our emotions and our body and what our body is trying to speak to us. Because if you've got a rash that like won't go away, or you're tired for no reason, you've got tightness in your chest, you're bloating a little bit, you're have these random outbursts of anger or tears, or you're not crying actually. Um, Everything is connected, and these are ways our bodies are speaking to us. So, not just looking at it from a physical side of like, hey, what's going on, but looking at it from an energetic side. And this episode is going to help you look at it from an energetic side. And I hope in a very simple way. And this matters because we are such amazing beings and our bodies have the capacity to withstand so much. But my biggest overall passion is the world to have more space, joy, and ease with their body. So we need to get comfortable with letting some shit go and helping our bodies out from all different perspectives. So let's dive into the first organ, and that's the lungs. So the lungs in from a Chinese perspective, Chinese medicine perspective, holds and creates the energetic frequency and emotion of grief and sadness and also letting go. That inhale and exhale, right? You when things are getting, shit's hitting the fan, things are getting tough, breathe. Breath work is so important no matter who you are, to breathe, to connect with your breath. And from a meridian point of view, the pathway begins in the chest, so in the lungs, goes down the large intestine, then rises to the throat and runs down the inner arm to your thumb. So that's kind of like its pathway if you were to trace that with your body. Its main function is to govern respiration, obviously the lungs, bringing in oxygen, exhaling CO2, also supporting the immunity, skin, and boundary settings. Okay. So, how this can show up in your life: feeling like you can't catch your breath when emotionally overwhelmed, tightness during transitions, like so breakups, deaths, endings of some kind, when we get that like tightness through those events, difficulty crying or sense of numbness to sadness. So, like I was saying, like you could be crying a lot or you could be not crying at all, but you're like, I feel stuck, right? I feel numb. Other ways it can show up in your life is like holding on to things or people long after they've left your life or they're no longer so prevalent and a point of focus, but you're like holding on to them. And this recurrent bronchitis, shallow breathing, skin issues, the lungs and skins are really connected. So, because the skin absorbs things and expels things, so do the lungs. We inhale and we exhale. We bring it in and we let it out. So, they are very interconnected. I had a client once who was struggling with chest infections, amongst other things, and they started after her divorce. And when we looked at it, her lungs were literally trying to expel the grief she had felt, and she hadn't let herself fully acknowledge the amount of grief she was feeling over her divorce. Even though they were amicable in their divorce, she was not letting herself fully acknowledge the grief. And she was like only letting it out in a little bit at a time. So when we started clearing the lungs of the grief, she started to have less and less chest infections until she didn't have them anymore. So really amazing how our body can be speaking to us. And it doesn't always mean that we have to take things. It sometimes means that we have to actually let things go, right? But sometimes our brain wants to protect us so much that it won't let us feel into these sticky places. So, how can you support your lungs? How can you support this channel? How can you support these emotions that you might be holding on to? Well, I already mentioned one: breath. If you haven't done breath work, highly encourage finding a breathwork facilitator in your area. You can also do it online, but I feel it is best done in person with somebody, because a lot can come up and you want that facilitator to be able to help you if things get a little stuck and stiff. There's also a whole bunch of different breath works. So please don't be discouraged from trying a few different ones to see which one connects with you. At the very least, box breathing is super simple and you don't need any facilitation. You just breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, or inhale for 6, pause at the top, exhale for 6. It's not box breathing, but it is a very powerful way of connecting to your breath. Your mind connects to your breath, your body connects to your mind. It's all synchronicity. Where your breath goes, your mind follows. Another way of doing it is journaling or voice noting what you're holding on to. So we're sometimes not even realizing the grip we have on a story or event in our life, or our children leaving for university, or our kids just like going to school for the first time. And we are like gripping that in our bodies. We need to let it go. And sometimes the easiest way to do that is to just write out what is going on or voice note it. You don't need to ever share it with anybody. You can delete it right away. But it's that action of getting it out that's going to help your lungs expel the energy that is being generated, right? Crying without judgment is a really great way to detox the lungs. Sometimes I'll I can sense that, like, okay, I'm really tight in my chest. My breathing is really high. I feel like I want to cry, but I just can't. So I will literally go watch a sad movie. Like if I need to sob, oh my gosh, put on a Nicholas Sparks movie like The Notebook or something else. And this chica is crying and expelling, and I feel so great afterwards, even though I look like a mess. It's very therapeutic. Um, and doing it without judgment. Also, sometimes you'll start to cry. Like I've cried because I've been just so happy. And I've cried because I've just something I said or my partner said just sparked something that kind of made me cry. And I've learned to just let the tears out because I know that's just way my body needs to process. And I have really taught myself in practice, okay, this is just the way the body is going. I don't need to judge it or think about it or try and determine why am I crying. No, my body is just doing what it's got to do, and I let it. I give it the space to do it. Spending time in fresh air. You guys, we are so confined to our homes. And I say this and I preach to myself, get outside. My life, I never ever thought would be spent so much time behind a computer. So it is very important for me to go outside, go for a walk, stand in the grass, breathe. Again, back to breath work. Inhale that beautiful oxygen and exhale everything that we don't require. Breathe in the good, let out the shit. If you also can be near water, water or the sound of water is very grounding, and it's like that flow energy. And we need to bring that back into our bodies because we get so quickly into a state of confinement and contraction. And we need to remember that we are expansive, energetic, and energy is always flowing. So, water is a great way to be in flow. Movement is also really great so that you are bringing the breath and exhaling, and kind of movement is so important for everything because it is actual like energy moving. We are moving the energy in our body. So that's really great too. Um, Also, tapping or acupressure on the lung meridian lines on the chest is really great. So if I feel like I'm also kind of like holding in my breath, I'm holding in my chest, tapping it connects. It's a way of physically connecting to your body and also running the governing meridian line to release what you don't need to hold on to. So, if anything resonates there, I want you to drop a lungs down in the comments because maybe something, and tell me, share with words, share with me what your takeaway was in just the lungs if lungs are resonating with you. Now we're going to shift to liver. Liver, liver, liver. Oh boy. Everyone needs some liver support here because how many of us have some repressed anger frustration, and resentment. The liver generates these emotions, the liver holds these emotions, and we need to let that shit go. And it's not about just falling over and being complacent with anything or thinking that things, that's, just being okay with everything and like it can just happen. No, no, no. We still require change if change is required, but we don't need to hold in our bodies the anger, frustration, resentment, right? You always hear the saying like forgiveness sets you free. It really, really does. And in the liver, it's not just like the explosive range, it's the little simmering resentment, it's the little irritability, it's the repressed rage, it's the people pleasing. It's also like the little things that you kind of think aren't really a thing. And then all of a sudden you're like exploding because it's all boiling over. That like one little moment compiled 100 times is a lot. So you're going to start over spilling and kind of explode a little bit. So when we talk about the liver, that meridian line is the pathway that begins at the big toe, travels up the inner part of the leg, through the liver itself as the organ, and up to the chest and throat. It functions, or its main function is to govern smooth energy flows. It's also emotional regulation, it's menstrual health, and it's detoxification. We know, I think the common knowing of the liver is like a detox center, it cleans the blood, but it also, if it is stuck, it's going to have a hard time detoxifying the body. If we are suppressing that rage, we have all this energy that is being compiled in and it's not being released. So it's going to have a hard time releasing. So there are many ways physically to help support your liver so that it's flushing out the physical things. But when it comes to like how this shows up in your world when it's being impacted from like an energetic suppression of emotions, it's snapping at little things. It's that irritability that I said. It's that passive aggression. Um, it's PMS or hormonal imbalances. It's tension in the neck and the jaw and the shoulders. Because remember, it runs up the chest and into the throat and the muscles that are all attached to that. It's the bloating. It's a little bit of nausea. It's headaches. It's the general sense of being on edge and for no like clear reason. So this showed up actually personally for me. I had a bit of a rash on the inside of my thighs and I was like I couldn't figure it out. I was like kind of like perplexed as to like where this came from. And I was like looking at my diet and my amazing friend, Dr. Andrea Grainer, she was just like, hey girl, where are you angry? What are you angry at? What's like not fair in your world, do you think? And I was like, ah, fuck. I have been holding on the little bit of resentment to someone in my life. And I've been frustrated because there's no such thing as fairness. But I was like, XYZ is just like not fair. And it's really pissing me off. And so I did some tapping around that. I pulled out my pendulum and my emotion code. I was doing my work and I was just like imagining my liver and just all of that releasing. And I kid you not, guys, the rash started clearing up that evening and it went away within like a day or two. And so that's just the power of this work. And so I'm so appreciative of, my friend who was just like, all great things. Look at that. And I was like, thank you for the reminder. So, ways you can support your liver too is like expressing your frustration um, in a embodied, safe way. And if that means you need to scream into a pillow, go do that because rage and anger is something that we're not taught how to express. Like that's why I love boxing is because I can just channel all of that and get it out. That's why I love rage rooms where you can go break shit. That's why I wish we had like a adult version of like the bouncy castles because you can just like run into things and hit them and you're fine, but it gets that energy out. I also love, and I do this a lot, sometimes when I just need to really let it flow is letters. I'll write a letter. I used to do this when I was working through a lot of experiences and trapped emotions with my father. I wrote so many letters of just like, I'm gonna get it all out, and then I burn the letter. And also shaking. Not everyone is like a shaker and a mover and the shakes, but that is a very primal way to release anger and frustration and resentment from your body. So it's also great. And you can just shake in your own private space, or you can find facilitators that are more movement somatic based, and that will often come up in practices. Physically speaking, from a food perspective, bitter greens is really great to support liver detox, or finding a supplement that is all about liver detox. Because our environment is so toxifying, we do need to physically support our liver in ways. Alcohol and processed sugar, like, cut a lot of that out, if not all of it, um, because that will congest the liver and kind of clog it up. Like I said, journaling, writing things down. What are you angry about? What feels unfair? What's frustrating you right now? Where are you holding resentment? Who are you holding resentment to? Just get it out of your brain and out of your body, and then put it away, rip it up, burn it, chuck it in the garbage, whatever, but just get it out. I think tapping is great for all of these kind of emotions and stuff, because they do attach. Tapping, when you go through the points, taps on all the governing meridian lines that connect to all the organs. So a great way is to like tap on resentment or betrayal or frustration. And what you'll notice is, even if you can't speak it out, if you're just allowing yourself to bring up the resentment or the fear, or sorry, the anger, eventually your body will start to shift. You'll feel a shift in the energy. You will maybe cry or start to smile, because that's releasing from your body. And there's also some amazing tapping um videos out there on YouTube. Like, they're so great. So follow along with one, or just sit there and be like, I release this. I'm letting this go. I fully and completely love and accept myself. Like, go through the phrase that you'll learn. Again, so many examples and facilitators on YouTube. So check those out. Okay, large intestine. Such a fun one. It controls the guilt and the holding on. So when we are holding on to stuff, sometimes a great question to ask is, how are my poops doing? What am I not letting go of? What am I holding on to? Okay? The large intestine is all about release. Again, like the lungs, letting it go, exhaling it. The large intestines, expelling it from your body, literally and physically, or physically and emotionally, literally and figuratively. That was what I was trying to go for. So again, we hold when we are trying to control things, when we are guilt is playing in our world, when we have shame and we are gripping fear of letting something go, we are energetically clogging up our large intestine. So from a meridian perspective, this one's an interesting one. This starts at the index finger. It runs along the outer part of the arm, the shoulder, the neck, the chest, and ends on the opposite side of the nose. So it, funny enough, is up on the body, but attached to the large intestine. So its main function is to govern the elimination pathways, letting go, clarity of mind, digestion of life experiences. So another way is like, what is going on in life? What are you not processing? What are you ignoring? What are you not letting, what are you not integrating? Like, letting it integrate and change things in your world, and then let out whatever doesn't serve you. That's a great question to ask if you are wanting to clear the large intestine and also just clear shit from your world, right? So this can show up as constipation or irregular bowel movements. So again, poop conversations, very important to know. because they tell you a lot about what is going on in the gut, in the intestines, in your life. Perfectionism, so this over controlling, this tendency to just grip and control every aspect. You're probably having some irregular bowel movements if you're that controlling and that gripping and that much of a perfectionist. Like we have to be able to let things go because not everything is in our control. Difficulty letting control of what I just said, like of the past. So I'll have clients where they just their past is so present in their present moment and their future because they don't see how their past isn't interestingly connected to their future. Like they will not let their past go. And when we can shift them to letting their past go, they really do see and feel their body release because it's no longer been shoved up there and like the constipation of the past, essentially. Um, Shame spirals, this one is big. It shows up a lot, like how much shame we hold around things, how much shame we hold for other people, and the collective. Like that's not your job to hold on to. So please let that all go. The harsh self-criticism too, like if you're someone who criticizes yourself a lot, judges yourself a lot, again, not for you to hold on to. We need to start working on letting that go. And also like feeling weighed down or emotionally sluggish. When we feel like we've got the weight on our shoulders, we feel like we have to control it all. Again, that affects our large intestine, that affects our body. So ways we can support this organ, the large intestine, is grounding practices are really key here. Like walking barefoot, um, breath focused movement, being in nature, letting all the excess tension fall out of you and like give it back to the universe, back to the land, because it can translate it and it can transmute it. And it can transform it. So really allowing nature to support you and letting not only physically leave your body, but like that grounding through the feet, right? Sitting on the earth allows you to connect, and the energy flow of the earth going in and from you, the excess electrons moving out of you and into the earth is so beneficial. So like grounding mats, if you're in cold spaces or in your house a lot at your computer, having a grounding mat, something to facilitate that. Grounding sheets are really awesome. Uh, Let go rituals. Again, we've been talking about writing letters and burning them or a symbolic release. Just that practice of being like, I release this, I let it go. Sometimes we need a bit of more intention around something to shift it. And like, that's great. So if you're someone who likes rituals, patterns, intentional time and space, great for you. Forgiveness work is really also so important. Like it sets you free. And it's not to forget, but it is to release all that excess tension, all that excess energy so that you can move forward. Um, Fiber, soluble fiber, hydration, support the physical release. So helping moving things out of the body. And a great question is to ask, what are you holding on to that is no longer yours to carry? This is a big question I ask in all the sessions that I am with people in various ways. I ask this question like, what is not yours to carry anymore? And sometimes the body will tell us exactly like this belongs to 10 generations back. And that is so amazing. I love when, we clear the inherited emotions because it truthfully isn't ours to carry. And we can let that go through like the work that I do with clients. So, how all of these organs also relate to each other, I want to bring in these little tidbits here. So, emotions don't happen like individually in silos. Grief in the lungs often turns to anger. So, we are connecting the lungs and the liver because we have a process, and anger can turn into guilt if we're not processing it. And guilt can turn into grief. So we are connecting not just these emotions, but these organs too. So they're affecting each other. And what happens is the body tracks all of it. The body is this beautiful um, keeper of our life. And when we start to heal one part, there is a ripple effect across the entire system because the system itself is not individualistic. It is collective. It is things may happen in areas, but it's all interconnected. So, another way of looking at this is that the liver processes and detoxifies, and the large intestine eliminates the waste. So if one is clogged, one can't release. Or if one is not releasing, the other one is going to get backlogged in its detoxification. So not only are the organs connected, but the emotions are connected. So how do we do this and take this into our life? All the suggestions, take what's right for you. And let me know in the comments below if like lungs were connecting, you were connecting to your liver, things I was talking about, your large intestine were pinging for you, resonating with you. Let me know which one for you pinged, because I would like to see, not only just see and hold space for that, but also invite you for over the next week before our next episode and our next 3 organs to be with that, to begin to listen, to start to notice, to ask some questions to your body. What is this tension all about? What is this emotion telling me? What can I release that my body is asking for? And do it the way that resonates with you. And if you are struggling, but you want to start to explore that, you can check out how to work with me there's a link below for the free consults that I offer to get a sense of like what's going on and to give you some tools and tips to help you process, and also see if this work, the way that I do this work, is right for you to actually go even deeper, because we can kind of scratch the surface level from this perspective, but you are so unique, and I love addressing the uniqueness of your experience and your life and really looking at it from an individual perspective. That's why I work one on one with people. So if that is of interest to you, please feel free to click that link and learn more information below. I have just released my back pocket reset. It is a mini audio series that takes you through your organs, invites you to look at your fascia, takes you through your body, takes you through very simple, anytime, anywhere, mini meditations to release what you no longer need to hold onto. And you can do this like as a way of building a practice to like go through your body, a body scan, an organ scan, a fascia scan. And also supplementary visuals for people who are more visual, because I truly believe that you are your own healer. You activate your body in a certain way. And when you have the tools, and maybe you just need practice with the tools and support from someone like me, you'll get better and better and better at these. And sometimes, like me, I just love listening to something because it helps me let go of my own brain and I'm like guided through a process. So, the Back Pocket Reset is available now for download. It's totally free. I've been pouring my little heart into this over the past couple weeks to bring to you. It's super simple, super accessible. You can plug in anytime. It's like having me literally in your back pocket. So if you are ready to start building a practice of releasing in your life, go to akeishabat.com/back pocket reset, and all the information and where you can download it is there. It's a very simple way to download. You can put it onto your phone. And like I said, anytime you need a release or you feel like a release is needed, click me. I'm like a coach in your back pocket. I will facilitate you through the release work. So thank you so much for being here on this episode. Until next week, when we dive into our next 3 organs, have an amazing week and day, and start releasing what your lungs, your liver, and your large intestine no longer need to carry. And if you've got any questions, drop them below. I'm always here to answer them. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so grateful I get to do life and conversation like this together. If today landed for you, I would love to hear what your takeaways were. Hop over to Instagram and hit me up in the DMs or leave a comment below. I love reading all of them. And if you haven't already done so, pay it forward by subscribing, leaving a review, or sharing this with someone that you love. These actions directly impact the show and they help us reach a new audience, so I am very grateful in advance. And if you want to explore working together or dive deeper into this work, you can check out in the show notes all my current offers and ways to connect. Until next time, everybody, have a magical and fantastic day.